Good morning, everyone, and officially welcome to our free webinar for May. So today we have another session as part of the HR Spotlight series that we have been doing. We tend to focus on different HR functions and even specific activities within HR. For this month, especially because we celebrated Labor Day last May 1, right? So this month, let's look at labor relations. But specifically, let's look at labor relations from an HR perspective and what that might mean. So first, let me introduce myself, especially for people who are new here. I see some new names as well. Welcome to our monthly free webinars. You can call me Elisha. I'm Elisha Corpus. And what you're seeing here on this slide is actually a picture of me and my classmates. I did my master's in human resources and labor relations at Michigan State University. I talk about this because if I think about my introduction to labor relations, I've always had an idea of what it is. Later on, you'll see the guest speaker. So just no surprise there. The guest speaker is actually my dad, who's been in HR for a very long time. He's been doing labor relations for a very long time as well. So even growing up, I knew what labor relations meant and what they do. But in terms of getting a formal education on the foundations and the theories behind it, sa masters ko talaga nakuha yun. And yung interest ko in the topic started there when I learned more about the history of that specific field, when I learned more about the nuances of it and how complex it is. That's when I realized that labor relations can actually be so exciting. So that's something that I would love to share with you today. The things that I'm going to share will start with the theory. A lot of it came from the things I've learned in my master's. So after my master's, I actually worked in Microsoft in their global headquarters in Seattle, Washington. I did global learning and development over there. After that, in late 2018, I came back home. I decided to come back home to the Philippines and I started my own consulting practice. So I don't know if you came here through our Facebook page or our website, but we are called Elisha Corpus Consulting. We are a management consulting firm specializing in topics like culture transformation, leadership development, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have different clients here in the Philippines and internationally as well. Every month, we do these free webinars to share learning because we love exchanging ideas with such a diverse group of people. So that's the quick background on me. I'm so excited to also get to know all of you as we see you more in free webinars in the future. But for now, let's do a quick rundown of who we have in the room. So for those who are done with the Mentimeter, thank you. But for those who have not yet answered the Mentimeter, you can go ahead and click the link that I just sent there in the chat box. You can also grab your phone or open up a browser and go to www.menti.com. Use the code that I'm flashing here on the screen. The code is 36434223. All right. So it's anonymous. Don't worry, we won't see who's answering what. But this will really just help us to customize the messages that we will be talking about today. All right. So it looks like 52% of us here in the room are in HR and labor relations. Okay, naiba yung result. Kanina, parang mas madaming hindi nasa labor relations. All right? And then we do have 15%, some people are not in HR but are very interested in the field. So welcome. I'm glad that you're interested to learn more about HR even if you are not yet in that field. All right? So great. This will be very helpful for us so that we know the perspectives that we have in the room. Dahil marami kayong nasa labor relations, I also encourage you to share your own thoughts and your own learnings as we go through the webinar. Maybe the others who are not in labor relations will also learn from you. All right? So great, everyone. Thanks for answering that Mentimeter. What are we going to talk about today? Number one, let's first start by identifying the foundational concepts in labor relations so we can have some theoretical grounding. And then, of course, very important, that's why we have an HR leader today. We are going to discuss the practical applications of those theories and see how an HR leader approaches labor relations. So these are the two things that we hope to accomplish this morning. Let's go ahead and get started. Ayan, dahil madami-dami kayong nasa labor relations, maybe you can help kick off this discussion. What is labor relations? Ano nga ba yung labor relations? You can go ahead and start typing that in the chat. For those who are not in labor relations, maybe you could also type in what you think it is or what you've heard about labor relations. Pwedeng one word or one phrase. Ayan, let's see what you think. All right, so someone said unions with a question mark. Okay, great. So thank you for putting that in there. So unions are definitely part of labor relations. Okay, another person said interactions and relationships between employers and employees. Also managing relationships, labor practices, negotiation. I love yung mga question mark nyo, no? Tama yung mga sagot. Lahat yan included sa labor relations. Grievances, identifying employee concerns and resolving those. Yes, very important. Relationships, employee engagement, may pa-counseling ng konti, lalo na pag may concerns. Okay, I see where you're going there. Employees' rights, oo, di ba? May mga batas na kailangan sinusunod as basis for our policies. All right, maintaining harmony, addressing employee grievances. Okay, everyone. So I think for the most part, a lot of us have an idea of what labor relations is. Let's look at the formal definition. So this definition I actually got from a textbook on labor relations. Yeah, and if you're interested, the textbook is called Labor Relations, Striking a Balance by John Budd. So I recommend it because they do a good job of talking about the theories. There's just a lot of examples about American unions, but honestly, I find it helpful because it gives you a good grounding of history, like the history of unionization and collective action. So if you ever need a reference, that might be a good one to look up. All right. So ano daw yung labor relations according to this book? The function of labor relations is about managing relationships with employees and labor unions in ways that promote organizational goals. I think for the most part, a lot of you mentioned these things that are already included in the definition. So, ito yung mga gusto natin i-emphasize, di ba? We want to emphasize that labor relations has this aspect of relationship building, interactions, good harmonious relationships. And then another thing to think about is, bakit ba natin gusto ng good relationships between the different stakeholders and the different parties? That's because ultimately, it's all about aligning towards the organizational goals. We want these different parties to be able to work together to accomplish the goals of the organization. This definition would be mostly from the perspective of the employers or the company. If you ask from the workers' perspective, maybe they may view labor relations more as work-related protections, influence, voice that can be achieved through collective action. So tama naman yung mga sinabi nyo kanina, labor unions, that's still a big part of the definition. There are two things that I hope you can take away from the definition. Number one, lagi nating tandaan yung underlined parts. So again, the very important thing to note is that we manage relationships so that different people, different groups can align towards organizational goals. The second important thing about the definition is that we can see labor relations involves many different parts of a system. So what do we mean by that? If labor relations involves many parts of a system, ibig sabihin, hindi lang siya yung unions or yung employees or yung mga companies. Society at large has also a very big stake in labor relations. So bakit, di ba? Think about it. Number one, when there are strikes or maybe other forms of labor conflict, that's something that can jeopardize the safety of people in society. It's also something that could disrupt the availability of consumer goods. So may epekto siya, may direct effect siya to the people in society. So that's one example. Another example of how society has a stake in labor relations is that labor relations can actually serve democracy. If you think about unions, the way they voice their needs for decent working conditions, it's something that also affects national policy from that bigger perspective. And then, of course, nowadays especially, public perception matters a lot. If you look at Deloitte's survey on Gen Zs and millennials, this is a survey that they do every year. So Deloitte is actually one of the biggest consulting firms in the world. Every year, meron silang survey, napakalaking survey, such a big data set around the world. They ask millennials and Gen Zs about their perceptions on organizations and different issues. So in every survey that they've done in the recent years, dumadami lalo yung mga Gen Z at millennial who say that it matters to them if a company has fair labor practices or not. So consumers will patronize products with fair labor practices, and they actually are very much willing to boycott or to avoid products of companies that have known poor labor practices. So yun, di ba? Yun pa lang nakikita natin na very important yung public, yung society when it comes to labor relations. So something to note here is just to remember that labor relations is a bigger system than just the company that we are in. All right? So I think some of you mentioned things like grievances, negotiation, when we talked about the definition earlier. So tama, lahat yon ay part of labor relations. But we can think about them as more of common processes in that function. So when it comes to labor relations, ito yung apat na common processes. First, we have union organizing. So this talks about how unions are formed. Very obvious naman siya sa label. Number two, there's the collective bargaining process. You can think of this as how contracts are negotiated. So yung mga CBA, di ba? Collective bargaining agreements. Number three, this dispute resolution. You can think about it as how bargaining disagreements are prevented or resolved. And then number four, there's the contract administration process, which is about how grievances on the application of the contract are managed. So these are the processes under labor relations. Ang gusto ko sana na maalala natin, and something that our references are talking about, these processes are not the end-all and be-all of HR, of labor relations as well. For a lot of HR professionals, especially those who may be newer in the labor relations function, I could guess that a lot of you are involved in one or two specific processes. So siguro grievances and yun yung focus nyo. But something to really remember is that these are just activities under labor relations. These activities, these processes are means to deeper objectives. Babalik natin siya dun sa definition. At the end of the day, the main objective is still to manage relationships so that different groups can work together towards common goals. So dapat lahat ng activities at processes na to are contributing towards that deeper objective. So since we are talking about objectives, I think it's important to look at the objectives of the employment relationship. We can think about that as a triangle of different objectives. Okay? So first, there's efficiency. Efficiency involves the productive use of labor to promote economic prosperity. In short, tungkol to sa business performance. Gusto natin, profitable yung kumpanya, syempre, dahil mamamatay at mawawala yung kumpanya kung hindi na siya profitable. Gusto natin, productive yung employees para maging profitable yung company. We want a company that's competitive in the market, in the industry, and of course, all of that promote economic prosperity. So efficiency is one of the objectives in the employment relationship. Next is equity. When we say equity, it's about fairness in the distribution of economic rewards. It's about administration of employment policies, and it's also the provision of employment security. Some examples of that so we can make it more tangible. So think about providing decent, fair living wages, whatever you want to call it. So maybe in the future we can tackle living wages more because it's a bit more nuanced than just decent wages and fair wages. So think about that. It's thinking of how do we provide the fair wage, the fair kinds of coverages like health and retirement for the people in the organization. All right? And then the last objective is voice. Voice is about the ability of employees to have a meaningful input in workplace decisions. So think of it as employee participation, and that is achieved via different ways, like consultations. Labor unions are a big part of voice as well, and all of these promote employee free speech. All right? So think of it as a triangle because there are 3 points. There are 3 objectives to the employment relationship. Siguro, tanungin ko kayo, what do you think? Sa tingin niyo ba na itong objectives na to, lagi silang in alignment with each other? Are these objectives always easy to achieve and to balance? What do you think? Pwedeng yes or no in the comments. What's your point of view now that we've laid out the objectives? All right. I see some people are saying yes. And I see where you're coming from, no? Because the ideal scenario is yes, dapat binabalance sila. Think about it this way. If you provide people with fair wages and a safe working environment, ideally, mas committed sila, di ba? Mas feeling nila, kaya nila mag-contribute ng new ideas and innovations. So, mas may voice. And if all of that are happening, dapat mas may efficiency, mas profitable ang kumpanya. So, yes, it is achievable. But, is it easy? No. So, lahat tayo, tama yung perspectives natin, di ba? Even if it is possible, it's very hard. That's why we have labor relations. Kasi, labor relations your role will be striking that balance between these three, sometimes conflicting objectives. Labor relations is about making sure or finding ways so you can balance efficiency, equity, and voice. All right? So, everyone, that's the quick grounding on the theory that we are going to discuss this morning. So, medyo mabilis lang, but the purpose is really just to have a common language. Yun naman yung purpose ng frameworks, di ba? Para meron tayong models in our head that we can use as we tackle practical applications. So, ang important lang na tandaan is, number one, diba, the main goal of labor relations is to manage relationships so we can align towards organizational goals. And then number two, kailangan natin tandaan na may tatlong objectives yung employment relationship, and we need to be balancing these three objectives as we manage those relationships in our organization and work towards our goals. All right? So great job, everyone. And thank you so much for being participative in the chat. I hope you can remember those theoretical models because we are going to be referring back to them as we have a discussion. So now is the time when we will invite our guest speaker into our forum. So our guest speaker is Eliseo Corpus, or you can actually just call him June Corpus. So if hindi pa obvious, June Corpus is my dad. Ayan. Yung mga kasama namin sa simula pa lang in 2020 when we started doing the free webinars, you may already be familiar with my dad kasi nung simula ng pandemic ng 2020, lagi din natin siyang kasama as a guest speaker. But for those who are a bit newer, maybe you haven't seen Liceo Corpus or June Corpus yet. So I'm excited for you to meet him. Ayan, so Dad, maybe you can turn your camera on and we can start the practical applications of labor relations. All right, can you try talking? Can you hear us well?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you, Elisha, and thank you everybody for sparing time to attend this webinar. I am really, really edified and inspired by your pursuit of learning, and hopefully, Elisha Corpus Consulting and I can contribute to that.
All right, perfect. So yeah, Dad, to kick it off, ayan, so Dad na tawag ko para madali, hindi awkward, okay? So Dad, maybe you can start by introducing yourself. Can you give them a brief background of your HR and labor experience?
Yeah, so as Elisha showed in her slide, I am 35 years in HR, and I started as a recruitment specialist, and then I moved on to learning and development. I eventually moved on to organizational development. And then the last specialist stint that I had was with labor and industrial relations. And eventually I became an HR generalist or an HR head. So I moved from one company to the other, starting with a local company at that time named F. Jacinto Group. These are the makers of roofing and steel materials. And then eventually I moved to a multinational company, SC Johnson. These are the makers of Ray, Toilet Duct, and Glade. Here I learned how to relate with employees so that you keep them non-unionized. Yeah. And then after that, I moved to Unilever. Here I learned that having a union is not a tragedy. In fact, having a union has many positive things also. And eventually, after Unilever, I was 10 years with Nestle. And after Nestle, I was with NutriAsia. So I'm essentially from the fast-moving consumer goods company, and I've specialized in many of the HR fields. The only thing where I have not specialized was in benefits and compensation.
Yeah, so as you can see, a lot of different functions, and math is a weakness that my dad passed on. So hindi kami
Yeah,
nagko-compensation
yeah.
masyado.
Except when I'm counting my compensation monthly, that's okay.
All right. So yeah, so thank you so much for giving them that brief background, Dad. So siguro to start with, we showed them earlier the triangle of objectives, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you can give us what are some examples of specific concerns under each of these objectives. And I know you have a slide for
Yeah,
that.
can
Pakita
you flash
natin.
that? And here, no, I want to invite you to ask questions or dialogue, bring inputs, share your thoughts, share your experience. So, and thank you, Elisha, for these three items in the triangle. So, to be honest, it also gave me a way to understand the things that we have been working on, no? So some examples of voice would normally be what you find in the political provisions of your CBA. Now, the CBA will normally be, let's say, grouped into political provisions or economic provisions. Okay. But now, when Elisha introduced the triangle, I do understand now that the political provisions are really in pursuit of voice. No? It talks about union membership, union recognition, very important, no? Union recognition, union representation is very important. It's important for the union that they are recognized by the company. Right to self-organization, it is enshrined in our laws. Hence, Elisha said that unionism is also important to society. Of course, they are after union security, meaning that they are not discriminated because they are members of the union. Labor management dialogue, very important to keep that voice ongoing, but more importantly, so that there is also continuous listening. Continuous listening is an important HR strategy in relationship building and in building the business, whether that is under labor relations or not. Okay. And then grievance machinery. Okay. Grievance, it looks very heavy, but really it's coming from the root word grief. No, when there is something that you grieve about, you raise it. Hence, people listen and people try to solve things. No, I think that's how simple things are. Efficiency, it's normally about management prerogatives and union prerogatives, I think. No? So I think I have matured already to think that both the prerogatives of management and both the prerogatives of the union are really geared towards efficiency. So Elisha talked about organizational goals as the end result of why employee relations is important. And I agree to that. But do not forget that inside organizational goals is the goal on how to enhance employee well-being. It's how to uplift employees so that they grow and develop. So there is no inconsistency when you think about organizational goals, union goals, and individual goals. For as long as the company continues to prioritize employee well-being as part of its ultimate goal. Okay, so some of the more concrete things that go into the topics on efficiency will be work schedule, safety, setting standards for performance and targets. It will be hiring. These are like the employment or employer prerogative, no? End of employment, employee discipline, job grading and leveling, code of conduct, rules and regulations, and of course, productivity programs. When you look at the equity side, these are more or less the economic agenda, more or less, of a union, no? Which are more or less wages, leaves, benefits, work during calamity, how do they get paid, overtime, burial assistance, meal allowance, union office. You can add on to that list, but all that list, I think, is representative of um, the the want, okay, to strike more equity in the workplace, balancing, let's say, productivity with satisfying some of the needs in terms of economics. No? Okay, so did that answer the question, Elisha?
Yeah, yeah. I think this this kind of layout will help all of us to see the specific examples of what are the possible problems in each of those objectives, di ba? Pero siguro the next question for you is how do you make sense of that? Because I assume, for example, that the solution to, let's say, one part of this table also involves looking at the other objectives. So it's a more holistic solution. So maybe walk us through how do you make sense of using this kind of way of framing?
Yeah, so again, I go back to now I have a way to describe it, no? Um, I go back to what you mentioned about the role really is to strike a balance. How do you make sense out of it? You find a balance. Now you find where the balance is. So for example, um, employees would like to have wage increases. No? So do not undermine the word general, in general wage increase. When you say general wage increase, normally they refer to across the board wage increases. Okay? So that is negotiated normally in your collective bargaining agreement, and what wage increase you give one, you normally give to all. Okay? Now, the other side of the equation is the point of view that wage increases should be merit increases, meaning it should be performance based, depending on your performance. So, why will I give you an increase if you are not performing well? Okay, so I'm not saying that there is a practice to follow. There are, yes, but I'm not espousing any. What I'm saying is this is an example where apparently two opposite, not necessarily conflicting, but two opposite views will have to be balanced so that eventually there is a solution to the issue. So that's just an example of, let's say, where to use the guide that employee relations is really striking a balance between these three elements in the triangle.
Yeah, I think that's a great example because when we have these models, it also gives us the language to describe. Kasi minsan, di ba, nakikita natin may conflict, nakikita natin may opposing views, pero mahirap siya i-label or i-describe, especially when we have to talk about it with our leaders or with management. So, maganda na meron tayong ganong framing para mas nakikita natin and na-analyze natin yung
Yeah.
situation.
And I will tell you now that with your input, I myself changed my view. No? So whereas before, I will go to my bosses and maybe say them, I have a conflict that I want to manage. Now, after having, let's say, seen your material, I can say, there are views or needs that I need to balance. Now, I think that is better now. No? And on the one hand, there is this stand. On the other hand, there is this stand or there is the need. I now need guidance on how to balance both.
Mhm.
That will, I think, give you an entirely different listening ear and an entirely different approach to whatever concern you have. No?
Yeah, so magandang tip yun siguro to remember, di ba? Na even in the way we describe it, because I think traditionally, we always use the words conflict, adversary, kapag dating sa labor relations, di ba? Parang yun yung usual way of thinking about it. But now, maybe we can instead use words like balance, managing the relationship, so that it gives a different perspective. All right, then maybe related to that, Dad, no? One of the things that some HR people might worry about is having a union. Kasi nga, yung traditional view is may conflict, nakakatakot yan. So, question for you, is having a union in a company automatically a bad thing for HR?
uh, I wouldn't think that it is a bad thing at all, no? Because remember, the idea is really to manage the relationship, okay, so that you are able to strike a balance, okay, on the need for voice, efficiency, and on the need for what's the other thing?
Equity.
Sorry,
Equity.
I'm already 60 years old, and the need for equity. Okay, so uh, having a union is not a bad thing, no? And you ground that on the principle that the law of the land, no, says that forming a union is a right. So if it is a right, it can never be bad. So having a union is not necessarily bad. Okay, perhaps now we are into the connotation that having a union may be bad, and this is what I want you to think about, is probably because the union came about because there are relationships happening that are not managed well. So, for example, if people have issues on safety, if people have issues in, let's say, simple thing as the quality of food that they get in the canteen, okay, and if these are not really attended to, and your non-unionized organization would like to have a union because these issues are not addressed, then although having a union is not bad, but I think it's important for us to understand what are the bad or not so good things happening that led us to this situation. So you make a distinction. No?
Mhm. Yeah, so it's I think the mindset we want to shift to there is being able to see the presence of a union as a signal that there might be something in the relationship that you would want to try to repair.
Right, but not only the presence, Elisha. No? It from presence you move to what is the overall attitude of the union. No?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, okay, because having a union per se may not be bad. Okay, but let's say how the union behaves or evolves. No, how the union achieves the balance in voice, efficiency, and equity is something that we have to constantly monitor and assess.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, no? Na even the way the union uses those objectives and that balance is also something we have to think about in the field of labor relations. All
Mm.
right. So, next question. Should HR strive to have a good relationship with the company's union, and why is it important?
I think my answer is yes. Okay, normally I would answer it depends, but I will explain to you why the answer is first yes. The answer is yes because having that good relationship with the union will help you manage the balance. Now, when you pursue, okay, the balance of management voice and union voice, management efficiency, union efficiency, and what is equitable to both the organization and the union. So having good relationship is important for you to manage the balance. But I also like to say that you also need to have very good relationship with your management, no? Okay, because you will ask from management to give certain things to your union, no? So good relationships, I think, whether it is with unions, with management, with your family, with people you don't know, that is good all the time. Okay, but what you make use of those good relationships, you have to be careful. If you use good relationships so that your union is a union that always follows you, you think twice. Baka dumating ang araw, hindi na iboboto ng mga employees mo yung union because it is a union that is a yes man to the organization. That is where I would say it depends. But for me, the overlying and underlying principle is it's always good to have good and healthy relationships. No? Di ba?
Yeah, so good point, diba? Kasi a good relationship doesn't mean na everyone just follows what you say or that it's just peaceful all the time. It means you work through the conflict and may means of communication kayo to do that. All
Uh,
right. Mm.
so here, there is a question. Would you like to read and address that from
Sure.
Russell?
Yeah, we can. So, everyone, for those who have been with us since last year and in a lot of the webinars, you know that if you have a question and that fits the topic, we can take it now. We don't have to wait at the end. So, yeah, so let's take this now, Dad. The question is, what if the management themselves have the problem in relating with the union? How can employees upward manage them so they can have a better relationship?
Yeah, so I think well, that's an interesting question, and I think to the process is an evolutionary one, no? But maybe let's say not the employees. How will employees manage the higher management, no? Well, there are many ways. So not necessarily in the context of a union. If you run, let's say, a regular organizational climate survey, no, that is one way where we capture employee sentiments and give that feedback to management. No? If, for example, you do regular exit interviews because your attrition is very high, normally giving the feedback to management as to the reasons why employee leave, no, will be a good eye opener for management. Okay, if, for example, you have a very strong credibility or rapport with management, you can just give feedback. You can just say, some of our behaviors, no, employees may find to be a bit disappointing, no. Then you give them concrete examples. So, for example, no, we ask for employee opinion, but when an employee gives his opinion, we adversely uh, react to it in public, okay, that may discourage future engagement. What I want to derive here is that the role of HR or the role of, let's say, somebody in employee relations, if we are talking within the context of employee and labor relations, is really to bridge, you know, the is to really bridge management and the people, no, and often to do that effectively, you will have to be very credible day in and day out. And you need to build that credibility so that both sides listen to you. This is why having good relationship is always good because you are a negotiator not just to the union. You are also a negotiator to your management.
Yeah. That's what makes the role of HR a bit more nuanced, 'di ba? Na you're bridging that gap between people na siguro hindi pa maganda yung relationship nila at times. All right.
Yes. So how can employees upward manage? I would think that the first thing to do is employees should really be credible. No? What do I mean? Meet your objectives, no? Behave according to your values and according to your culture, and then build rapport, no, with people so that you are able to manage that relationship very well.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah, that's the reality of it, right? Mas papakinggan ka kung nagagawa mo yung mga kailangan mong gawin, essentially. So dapat we can start with that credibility. All right. So I think that question tees us up very well for our next question. So now that we're talking about good working relationships, Dad, so how can HR build a good working relationship with the union? I know you have a slide with the sample strategy, so just let me know if you want me to share.
Yes, I think the first thing to do is really for you as HR to be credible, no? You as HR to really be interested in people. You in HR to really be committed to people development and growth, whether unionized or non-unionized. No? Now, the question is, how do I do this every day? Now, when you ask, how do I do this every day? The best way to do it every day is to put some programs in place. So I can share with you here some of the employee relations, or if you like, union relations strategies across the organization. This is a live sample. No? And if you find them good, I think you can guess who did them in his past life. If you find them not good, then your guess is wrong. No? Oh, so let's go, Elisha.
Okay.
Nagpapatawa lang na matanda na eh.
Oo. And then, kita naman sa slide, Dad, na halatang ginamit mo na to before.
Oh, kaya na promote dahil ginagamit yan. No?
All
Uh,
right. So let me
okay,
know.
sige.
I can just click when you're ready to discuss.
Right, sige. So, click. So, the first thing, engagement. Importante yan, engagement, no? My rule of thumb is leave nobody behind. Why is the question on representation important? Alam mo, unionized or non-unionized, you should engage employees. No? Some of the people that I worked with before in my team as HR, gusto lang nilang i-engage yung non-unionized kasi yun ang madali. No? The unionized ayaw i-engage. Okay? But okay, engagement with the union is very important as well as engagement with the rest of the employees. So you can see here pala site initiated and corporate initiated, no? Okay, so some examples of engagement, no? Celebrate, no? Make many celebrations in the site. So for example, um, International Women's Day. Celebrate that, no? Find exemplar women in the workplace, no? Mother's Day, celebrate it. Find exemplar mothers who display not just the motherly attitudes at home but also at work, no? International Labor's Day, May 1, no? Do something in the company, celebrate the contributions of labor, for example, no? Cite what has labor done. They have improved working conditions. They have worked to increase productivity. Okay, this is how they contributed. Okay? Then you engage people. Corporate initiated, request your leaders to visit the factories or to have discussions or dialogue with the union. Not necessarily always dialogue, maybe lunch with the union. No? There need not be any formal agenda. Okay? Maybe just getting to know them. Okay? So engage the union. But engagement with employees is the bigger rule there. Okay? Next, education and training. No? So dialogue. Yeah, yeah, that is true. Ikaw pala yun, Elisha. No? Okay, next. Tama din naman, anak. Next, okay. Education and training, leadership development. Yeah, so there can be quarterly leadership forum on corporate values and leadership norm. You know, when we do leadership trainings, we do not target only the people leaders. We invite the unions. Why? Because they are people leaders themselves. And sometimes it's good for them to sit side by side in these leadership development workshops with the leaders of the organization. No? There is an effect where the leaders of the organization get to be grounded in what the people think and what the people feel. But there is also the benefit of uplifting, your unions to how management thinks. No? So the benefit is both ways. Okay. Then you have, of course, corporate initiated can be employee relations competency building modules. Now, if you are unionized, it's just good to educate everybody about the provisions of your collective bargaining agreement. No? Why is it good to educate everybody about it? It's because you have to follow the agreement. No? And then grievance handling. No? Grievance handling is how do you process complaints? No? Do you process complaints by not listening to them? No. Do you process complaints by just burying the complaint in your drawer? Will you solve complaint by saying pinag-aaralan pa and then it's already 2 years and the complaint has not been solved or the grievance has not been solved? No? So grievance handling. What we teach there is sometimes we say, learn to close the issue a month after it has been raised. If the answer is no, say no. No? Okay? Yeah, and then work attitude and values become very important, not only for workers but also for everybody. Okay, and when we talked about how do we give upward feedback, that program I found to be very good. Remember that in employee relations, especially union relations, there are external stakeholders, because it's regulated by law. No? So the Department of Labor is one of the main players. Your local government authorities will be one of the main players too. So it's important to build external relationships with them. If your union has a federation, for example, they are allied with federations, you need to build relationship and working relationship with those federations too. No? So some of the um, stakeholders externally will be the Department of Labor. You will have, of course, let's say the ECOP, Employee Confederations Association of the Philippines. You have PMAP, no? But you have also your local government officials. And then council coalition, meaning you move towards labor management cooperation. But you see, labor management cooperation is not just advancing management point of view. No? It's also advancing what are the labor's point of view and their needs. No? And when you look at the examples that I shared, when you look at those, no, um, I think easily those are shared um, interesting uh, things for both labor and management. No? And then it's good also that you start putting recognition programs. I think any recognition program will be good for both employee and industrial relations. So these are examples of how you can keep improving the relationship and making it ongoing if you put these structures in place. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So I also hope this is helpful for all of you because sometimes when we think about employee relation strategy or union relation strategy, it looks so wide, 'di ba? Parang ang hirap niya to make sense of it. But hopefully seeing it laid out like this with four different pillars of the important things that you have to think about, hopefully that also helps you to organize your own strategies that you have in your head. All right. So we talked about these as examples of how we can build those good working relationships. I actually have around two more questions. So I'm going to encourage all of you now to start thinking of your own questions so we can ask them after, all right? So type nyo lang siya sa chat tapos we'll go and ask those questions. All right. So Dad, the next question. I know that because there are laws involved, right? There might be some HR people who will think that they need to be lawyers or they always need to have a labor lawyer. So tama ba yun? Is it always necessary to have a labor lawyer in doing labor relations?
Because you use the word always, I would say no. No, but there are instances where you need to at least know the labor law. And to know the labor law, you may need to consult a labor lawyer. So, for example, if a notice of strike has been filed now by the union, I think you need to consult a lawyer. What is the process to manage that notice of strike? No? So if a complaint has been filed against you, for example, in the government offices, you may need to consult a lawyer to be prepared and to know the legal remedies. No? But if, for example, they said that the food in the canteen is not good and is very expensive, you do not need to consult a lawyer. No? If the union said that, the punishment or the penalty that you imposed on the person you caught sleeping in the locker room is too much, I don't think you need a lawyer. No? Okay, so it depends on what is being resolved. But for you not to be very reliant on a lawyer, my suggestion is resolve the issues, okay, uh, not from a legal point of view, but resolve it from a relational efficiency point of view. I'm not a lawyer, so that's my perspective. But in areas where I think this is high risk or I do not very much understand this or this requires some legal expertise, I will consult a lawyer.
Yeah, I asked that question because something I want to share with you all. I'll look for the journal article if I can find an online copy. So my professor in labor law and collective bargaining, his research was actually about this. He was looking at the capability of HR people in labor relations. Yung nakita niya sa finding niya is nagiging masyadong legalistic yung ibang mga HR people in labor relations. Yung sometimes simpleng grievances, nire-rely nila sa labor lawyer. And then what ends up happening is when they have that legalistic approach, nawawalan ng credibility yung HR, not just sa union, but also sa management. So then HR has a hard time becoming a trusted person to do labor relations. So
Yeah.
yun yung isang medyo something to think about, diba? Now, we don't always have to bring that lawyer perspective in.
Yeah, so I think that is right, no? But again,
Yeah.
syempre, anak, no, we have to be
Mm-hmm.
uh, recognizing the fact
Yes.
also that because labor relations is regulated, no,
Mm-hmm.
by laws, okay, the legal perspective in some topics, instances, or issues need to be understood or need to come in also. But in the day-to-day, very pragmatic things, no, I find out that as you gain more experience, knowledge, then probably you do not need all the time the advice of, let's say, a legal consultant. But it's always good to keep them handy and work
Yeah.
hand in hand with them. No?
Yeah, also having a good relationship with a good labor lawyer, right, will be very helpful.
Yes, because especially if they give their services for free.
Mahirap yata humanap ng
Yes,
ganun.
you need to have friends lang, diba? No? That's why relationship.
All
There are
right.
some questions to check.
Yeah, there are already some questions. So let's proceed with the open forum. And I'm just going to mute people just to make sure it's not noisy. All right. So first question. How do you strike a balance between advancing the companies and the labor union's well-being?
So let me just, that's a difficult question because there is no fixed answer. No, because I think the answer will always be evolving, how to strike a balance. But what are the tools to help you have that balance? I think the first thing is to understand what are the needs, what are the issues of both, and then to see whether what are the points of reconciliation, where are the points where we need some more problem solving. I never use the word these are two irreconcilable points. I always say these points may need a little more time because we need to do some problem solving. Okay. But I think the challenge is the hard work, no? Because you really need to put a lot of effort to understand the issues and to work your way towards resolving them. No? Okay, that's just my advice. But it's I think something that's ongoing, no, and that evolves. And that's why if you have the programs that I showed you a while ago, that can help. So, for example, your regular talakayans or monthly meetings can help surface issues, can help find issues resolution, no, and therefore you are striking a balance. The regular touch base of top management with unions, no, they can sit together over lunch. Union can raise an issue. Top management can say sorry, but we will not provide that because this is the principle. Or top management already can say, "Oh, June, this is something that we can give immediately. Why don't you give us a recommendation?" So many things are solved just by sitting together and sharing a meal. No.
All right. We have a direct
Did
message.
that answer the question? No? Okay. For me.
Ayan, yan. Yeah. So we do have so let us know if you have a follow-up or if that's good. And yeah, I think they said very great insight. Thank you, Dao. The next question is a direct message. So let me read the question. In the absence of a labor lawyer, will the presence of an HR business partner during meetings such as hearings ever be enough?
Um, it depends on what is your issue and what is your know-how. No? Oh, kung if the issue is illegal termination, no, then you have to understand why is that the issue? Why was he terminated illegally? No? All the just causes of termination are present naman, for example. No? Still, they say illegal termination. Okay? If you are not, let's say, experienced and knowledgeable, maybe you will say the termination is valid. But maybe a lawyer will point out to you, yeah, but you did not observe the due process. No. So that's where the insights of the lawyer will sometimes be beneficial. But again, depends on your experience and know-how and what is the issue. No? So you have to balance that. No? Now, some companies kasi, baka lang will say, oh, wag ka na mag-lawyer dyan. Attendan mo na lang yan. No? But kawawa naman kung pina-attend mo hindi naman siya maka-relate to anything. Di ba? No? So, but you have to say also that here, I may need to be acquainted with the issues. I may need some advice from a lawyer kasi sometimes it's also good to be confident when you face people. And sometimes you gain that confidence when you also know the legal aspects of the issues at hand.
All
No?
right. Okay. So hopefully that helps. So I think sa HR, sanay naman tayo na yung answer, it depends, di ba? And really, like, the more experience we gain, then the more we will know, like, when to apply what principle. All right. The next question is, how do you maintain a good working relationship with employees you do not agree with or do not like? Siguro related siya dun sa isa pa nating question about, like, what if the union and the management, for example, currently do not have a good working relationship? So how do you deal with situations like that na hindi na talaga gusto ng mga tao or yung mga grupo yung isa't isa?
I think to begin with, I don't think there is such a situation. No? Why? Because the continued act of management to provide employment and the continued willingness of employees to remain employed, no, is saying na hindi hopeless yan dahil nandito ka pa and then nagpro-provide ka pa ng employment. No? So the next thing to do is, of course, we recognize that it is not a perfect relationship in varying degrees. Yung iba napakasama, yung iba masama, yung iba hindi masyadong masama. Whatever that is, no, we need to improve that. Now, why? Because if we improve that, then we meet organizational goals, and you see that part of the organizational goals is to improve employee welfare. Okay, so you need to plan your approach. No? So there is no clean answer, but I would say it's really effort. No, dito I would think it has a lot to do with the person driving the labor relations first. No, then second, not just the person but the personalities. No, it can be the HR head, it can be your labor relations head, it can also be the heads of the union, etc. So if it depends on these personalities, then what do? You get the personalities aligned. Ipag-usap-usapin mo sila. No? Get them to have instances where they can talk. No? Talking improves the relationship. So that's the strategy, I think. No?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Remember, so many things can be solved just by discussing. No? Maski yung ayaw mag-discuss, you can solve that by discussing. Bakit ayaw mag-discuss? Di ba?
Yeah, I think that's the tricky part, no? Lalo na, like, if you're HR, because I get that the question is also asking from maybe more of an individual perspective. So as HR, diba, of course, it's natural that there are people we do not like or agree with, but part of our responsibility is building those bridges and starting the communication.
No, I give it to you that there are people in the workplace who are likable, less likable, etc. But what I learned over the years is even if there is such a reality, there are those who are likable, not likable. At the end of the day, these are all your people, no? And you have to understand how to deal and manage with these different types of people. If it will be helpful, the only thing that helps me is the belief that no person or no employee will wake up in the morning with the intention to do something bad. You know? I just continue to believe in that. They may not always show it, but I like to think that is not their intention. No, so I just keep myself motivated. Sige, reach out, paka-humble na lang. That's fine. No? No? And for the most part, that has been more gratifying than frustrating. No? No.
All right. Okay. So the last question from the open forum. So thank you all for giving a lot of questions. I know I'm closing up the open forum, but if you have pahabol questions, burning questions, you can still send them and I'll send them to the speaker. All right. So last question. Do you believe in no union, no internal issues? Or just that issues are being well managed? Because sometimes employees believe that putting up a union is the last resort when working conditions are already unbearable. Employees don't feel
Mm.
valued, etc. Ayun. So, medyo Miss Universe, no? Do you believe in no union, no internal issues?
No, I don't believe there. No, I don't believe that. No, kasi number one, well, there is truth to the fact naman that sometimes employees resort to forming a union because things are already unbearable. It can be true, okay? But it can also be true that sometimes unions are formed, no, because that is a way to organize the workforce so that you talk to only a few who will lead the rest of the workforce to align to the productivity programs of the company. Okay, so while I understand that there are some experiences attached to the question, uh, my experience also tell me that that may not only and be always the case. No? So remember, okay, the way to look at relationships and unions and employee relations is sometimes not a clear yes or no. It is sometimes it depends. Okay. Mabuti bang may union? It depends. Mabuti bang walang union? It depends. Anong ibig mo sabihin sa it depends? Give me the context. The context is what I will manage. Yung context ang pwedeng mabuti o pwedeng hindi. No?
All right. I hope that answers your question. A very good question. A very
Very,
interesting set
very
of
good question.
principles.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, Dad, before we let you go, so here's what we'll do, everyone. We'll ask Dad for his last message, final advice, and then I'm going to give you the instructions for the e-certificate and we'll close up the session. All right. So, Dad, before we let you go, maybe just to end, what advice would you give to people here in HR and in labor relations as
Hmm.
they try to be more credible professionals in that field? Lalo na you have 35 years of experience, so baka there's something you can share.
Because you limited me to three, I will give the three uh, synthesis of maybe what can be 100 items under these three. Number one, know your company goals. No? Most probably, it will be about, let's say, profitability. It will be about growth. It will be about efficiency. But you will be very happy and you should find it your work to always ensure that there is something about people welfare and people growth. Most probably that will always be included in the organizational goals. Kung well-defined yun, swerte ka. No? Second, know your union, their goals, their issues, and then their aspirations. Just by wanting to know them, you will develop that good relationship with them. How will you know people that you are not related to? Di ba? So know your union slash respect your union. That's the second. And then third, work to harmonize the corporate goals and the union goals. And when you do serious work, you will find out there is or there are many instances where these are not conflicting. Now, it's just the positioning, the way they verbalize things that make it conflicting. But if you go back to the slides we showed on voice, on productivity and in on voice productivity and
Equity.
in equity and efficiency, you will find out these aren't conflicting things at all. No. In fact, these are very interesting things, especially when you find where is the connection, where is the link, where is the bridge. When you use the link, the connection, and the bridge to influence the stakeholders and the players, you show yourself to me, I will hire you.
Okay. So add him on LinkedIn, everyone. Yan, share namin yung LinkedIn link niya mamaya. All right. So yeah, so we'll let our guest speaker go, but
Yeah,
again,
bye-bye.
stay here, everyone. We'll close up the session. But
Okay.
thank you so much,
Yeah, I
Dad.
have to go. I have a meeting. Thank you, Elisha, for inviting me. And yeah, please follow Elisha Corpus Consulting. When I retire, I will be his employee. Bye-bye.
All right, everyone. Okay, so thank you so much. So everyone, let's close up the session. Let's do this together. Yeah, and so as always, we have to synthesize our learnings to make sure we remember something from it. So could you please share one word or one phrase? What will you make sure to remember from our session today? And let's see here. Just type it in the chat. One word or one phrase. What's something that stuck with you in our session? Balance. Oo nga, no? Balance talaga yung very important, eh, no? Oh, it depends. Okay, I love that. Very HR answer, no? It depends talaga. Very important. I actually also love that answer because it shows that you're thinking through the context so much, di ba? Yung hindi yes or no ang lahat ng bagay, kailangan pinapag-isipan, kailangan may intentionality. All right. Oh, I love it. Someone said empathy is very important. That's so true. In So when I was in school, Michigan, 'di ba? So if you know like America, dyan yung maraming auto companies. So a lot of blue collar workers, a lot of people maybe they didn't even go to college. Yun yung mga union nila, very strong. And then we got to meet a lot of those leaders and they look scary at first. Like imagine, 'di ba, yung mga matatangkad na Americans tapos mga malalaking katawan. But if you talk to them and show empathy, they're really like just so human. They have the same goals, the same aspirations to provide for their family and to have a good life. So I love that someone brought up empathy there. Yes, communication, very important. Oh, I love it. Remember the triangle, diba? Okay. So great, everyone. So thank you so much again for being here. I hope that's a good way to end May. We started May with Labor Day and we are ending May with more lessons about labor relations. So what's next? Please connect with us, Elisha Corpus Consulting, on Facebook and on LinkedIn. And then later on, I'm going to share the LinkedIn of my dad, of our guest speaker. Masipag yan mag-interview. So baka it's good to add him in your network. All right. So please request for a certificate by answering the evaluation form. So the evaluation form is linked here in the chat. Make sure to please do that in the next 2 hours. So the form is only open for 2 hours. Again, remember that the certificates will be given within 1 week. So expect it by Wednesday next week. Sometimes I do it earlier. It really depends on the volume of work. And then please type properly. Ayan, as much as I would like to memorize all of your names, hindi po namin kaya. So again, it really will depend on the name and the email that you type on the form. So please double check, triple check, and make sure that's correct. All right? And then of course, I'm inviting all of you to join us in next month's free webinar. It's Pride Month next month, next month. So the topic that I'm thinking about is allyship. I think it's very much needed for our time now. So just watch out on our page. I don't have a specific date yet. I don't have a registration link yet, but we post all of that on our page. So everyone, that is it for today. Again, make sure you answer the evaluation form. Thank you so much for being here and I hope you have a great start to your June. Start na ng year. Mamaya, months na. So, I hope you enjoyed the first half of your year and I'm going to see you in June. So, bye everyone. Don't forget the evaluation. So, that's your way to request a certificate. Very important. All right. Bye everyone.